Hi, everyone. I just want to start by saying two things about the previous speaker. One, that I believe that if you can't laugh at yourself, no one will ever take you seriously. So, August, I take you very, very seriously now. That's one. And two, you've exceeded your time. So they told me I can only say hi and goodbye. Uh, so it's really great to be here. And I took a flight from London. I was invited to come and speak here, and I thought I knew what I want to talk about and tell the story of the company we started. But by talking to people that were here and just walking in the street and seeing kind of the state of Greece and Athens, which is the first time I'm in Athens actually, so it's pretty exciting to be here. In the last minute, I kind of, with the permission of Fanny, I kind of changed a lot of the talk that I would like to make because I wanted to put some more personal touch into it. So I hope you're going to enjoy it, and I hope I'm going to be able to deliver the message that I want to deliver. Please raise your hand, everyone that is actually worried about this slide. Is there anyone who is actually excited about this slide? So it's only me. And it's interesting because, yes, it's very worrying. And actually, Mazin told me 2 days ago when I arrived that the unemployment rate of under 25-year-olds in Greece is actually above 50% and not below. But this stat is from 2012, so I'm way behind with data. But the reason why this is exciting is because it actually provides you the opportunity to once again, kind of step aside from everything that you know that makes sense in life, studying, doing a BA and then doing a master degree and then finding a job, whatever it is, and actually take the time to understand that this is an opportunity because it's so bad, it can't get worse than that. And when something is bad and challenging, it gives you the time to find an invisible opportunity, something that is out there that you can capture and to observe and to dream again, like we're doing a lot when we are really, really young, and to make the leap forward. And I'm sure all of you have seen this video from Philip, who jumped from space. And there was something that people like Steve Jobs says a lot of smart things, but for me, one of the immediate responses to you can only connect the dots looking backwards is actually I'd like to share with you some of the dots that I've connected in my life that led me from being an obsessed kid that plays with Super Mario most of his days and then going around to other games. From that point of being 4 or 5-year-old to starting a company like Kano, which tries to build a new type of computer and raising $1.5 million on Kickstarter in 30 days in December. And for me, the story starts with dreams. And not just a dream, a big dream, but a dream that you know when to let go. And for me, the dream was that I wanted to become a basketball player. And it was so big that I actually thought I can be in the NBA. I have no idea how. I wasn't that tall. I'm not that tall today. But that was the dream. And it doesn't matter what people tell. It doesn't matter what the parents say. I played basketball for 14 years because I wanted to be a basketball player. And I actually thought I can make it happen. But it didn't. Just like this kid didn't really lift this weights. But it taught me about being competitive. It taught me about being a team player and working with other people for a greater goal and realizing that stars actually only exist in the sky and not on Earth. It taught me to live with disappointments, losing a game, and I probably learned most of these things by the time I was 12, 13. By the time I was 18, I got to another path in my life, which was the Israeli Defense Forces. And I don't know how many of you know, but in Israel, Defense Force service is mandatory. We have to go, and we usually go for 3 years, and women are serving 2 years. So since you're a child, you actually know you're going to serve in the army. And and it's a big commitment that you make to yourself and to your country. And I felt that serving in the army should definitely get most of my attention, not because I knew what exactly I'm gonna experience, but it was more like, this is a journey that is gonna be 3 years, and probably I'm gonna learn things. Then let's just be there and experience things and see what happens and what I learn. And the thing that I learned from serving in an interesting role that was around the entire civil ecosystem of working between Israel and the Palestinian Authority. I've learned about responsibility, being accountable to our action, and understanding what are the influence of decisions that I make at an early age of 18, 19, 20, which this is the age where we serve. It taught me about persistency, of knowing exactly what I would like to do with the role and responsibility that I've got, and actually capture the most out of it. And it taught me about leadership, because we were 5-6 soldiers usually in the unit that I was serving in, and the more responsibility you get, you become more attuned to, can you actually show the way for others and teach them what you're doing, and teach them what are the good things and the bad things that you want to do with your life. And then the next path was, it was going to study. So I went to study in a good, solid university in Israel called IDC. But the kind of the focal point of my experience while studying was about getting into a program that is called the Zell Entrepreneurship Program. You need to understand, my mindset back then was, after finishing a role in the army, was like, how can I actually leverage what I've experienced so far, and be involved in politics or diplomacy or international relations, etc., etc. But at some point I felt that there's a dissonance between what I've experienced so far in my life and what I actually want to experience moving forward. And for me, the moment was that a decision needs to be made, and I thought that this could be something. Now, this something might mean nothing to you, and it sure did mean nothing to me at that point of time, but it gave me the freedom to experiment while still being in a structure of a university. So we started a venture, which we called it FunKit, and it was about kind of empowering self-expression through shoe customization. And it was literally like, can we use stickers and actually enable anyone, young people, to express themselves through designing their own shoes? And most than everything, it wasn't about the notion of starting a venture. It was about, how can I work with other people who are leaders by themselves, essentially in partnership, and build something that can create value to anyone. But I also learned when to stop. So after we worked on it for a year, I learned two things. That one, I don't want to sell stickers. And two, that I don't know how to run a business. So I wanted to learn, and more than the notion of learning, I wanted to get guidance. And the way I sought after guidance was by going to work for a very large global company based in Israel that is selling plastic consumer product all over the world, $1 billion, 4,000 employees. And what I found there, I found a family and mentorship that will serve me for life. Not just because these were amazing people, but because I had the opportunity to basically sit on shoulders of giants and learn from them. Learn how they took something from nothing 30, 40 years ago and created a new organization from a tiny country like Israel, and now shipping more than 200,000 containers a year globally. And I've been there for 3 years, and I've learned a lot, but also at every point of that road, I knew that that it's about growing myself personally and professionally, and also building my network, which is very important. And people sometimes confuse between building a network and knowing how to use the network. The network is really, really powerful when you actually have a window or a door that is being opened and inviting you to step in, but then you need to step in. And one of the windows that opened for me along the way, that allowed me actually to take the jump and go after, was meeting my co-founders, the people that have started to build Kano with me, which are truly amazing. And it didn't take too much time to actually understand that we want to build this something together, because we had a sense of mission that was shared, which was about how can we actually do something good in the world while building a global business. and shoot beyond the stars in a world that is already nearly 3 billion people connected. And we thought that this is the right timing to pursue what we wanted to pursue. And the reason why I'm showing this is not because this is just an interesting dam. It's more because if you think about, if you would put yourself in the hat of water, what actually happens here is the water understands that they had one journey and they're now moving into a different journey, and some of the things that they're experiencing are going to left behind, but will still serve them and give them the push to move forward. But they're going into a new world that they never experienced, but they have a skill set or a toolbox that will surely serve them in the future. And that's what I felt when I took the jump to start Kano. And I want to connect my story now and you know the path that I've been through in the last 29 years that led me to start Kano with my co-founders. And one of the first things we've done was we asked the question, how do you make a computer? Does anyone here ever made a computer? Anyone assembled a computer? Please raise your hand. So I take it that most of you haven't, which makes sense. Did anyone ever try programming? Slightly better. So the reason why we asked this question, because we thought in a world where technology is abundant, and you know it's all around us, we have these magical devices. It doesn't matter if it's an iPhone or an Android, but we have these magical devices, but we use them to consume, and it's probably some of the most sophisticated machines ever created, but we don't really understand what's inside, what it does, and how can we create something with it versus just consuming. And if you think about, you know, the way kids using tablets, it's pretty amazing because we give a tablet to a 2-year-old and they swipe a finger and we feel like, wow, this kid is so talented. How many of you actually saw a kid and said like, playing an iPad and they said like, this is amazing, they're so skilled? You can be honest, come on, there has to be more. Yeah. But it's not. So, I mean, it can't be because swiping a finger is yeah, it's beautiful, and they do understand the interaction with technology, but it's not like they're understanding what exactly goes inside or how can they put themselves to literally create with it rather than just watching movies, playing games, and be part of a shut up generation, you know, which is like, my baby is crying, I'm just going to give him a tablet, and then I'm free to, you know, sit with my friends for coffee or watch a movie. But we felt that there's a new creative generation emerge. And we started to imagine what a new computing experience would look like for this new creative generation. And Calvin is an example. Calvin is a 16-year-old from Freetown in Sierra Leone. And at the age of 11, he taught himself how to find electronic components in trash bins and actually build something with it for the very basic reason that where he lives, there is no electricity 6 days a week. Now imagine living in Athens without electricity a day a week, right? Maybe it happens because of weather, but it's not something that is consistent. So Calvin today is 16. He's building all these amazing stuff like battery packs and radio stations, and he's going to MIT and he's talking all over the world, and it's beautiful. But people like Calvin, it doesn't matter if they're 5, 8, 10, 20, they exist all over the world. They can be in Freetown, Nairobi, as much as they can be in New York, in Bronx, and in East Palo Alto in California. And we thought after finding something that these generation can actually build with. So we found the Raspberry Pi, which was something very, very interesting. A single board computer at $35 that is open with the right attitude that anyone can actually buy online or in a store. And what we've done is we thought that we should show it to some people because what can they actually create with it? That was the question that we asked. So we showed it to Mika, a 6-year-old kid who is the son of one of my co-founders. And Mika said that he would like to use it, but it needs to be as simple and fun as Lego. It cannot be as it is. So what we've tried to do back then, we've designed a book that was the first book that was part of the product. And it had one purpose, to take this board and actually making it simple and fun as Lego so kids can actually start using it. Why? Because if you see the reaction of kids that actually see something like that and something that they can actually touch and feel and plug into the wall and see the power supply and the red light turns on, you understand the gaps we have and how much hunger there is to experiment with technology. So we created a prototype around 8 months ago in May 2013, and we went into a school in Marylebone in London, a primary school, and we ran a workshop with 9-year-olds, about 20 kids at 9 years of age, and we told them, here's a box, now it's a computer, you can make it yourself. And at the end of the workshop, one of the kids named Khalid, he stood up and he said that adults treat them like they're young, because like they're incapable because they're young, but today they've made a computer, so they're like super children. And when we heard that sentence, we were like, fuck, it's like, what do we do now? So we actually went and created another 200 units of the prototype, and we launched it online on a simple website, outside of an apartment in London. We sold all of them in about 2-3 months, and we started to build a team, a global team that today is 17 people from 10 different countries in London, which is the most international city in the world, with more than 50% of the population non-local. And I moved from Israel to start the company there, which were for me also a big step because I've lived in Israel all my life. I resigned from the company, but I had a sense of mission that I thought I kind of ready for a bigger jump in my life. And then we've done the Kickstarter. It was time to tell the story and see what a bigger community of people think about it, and not just 200 people who bought the product. And we had a very kind of modest goals. We thought we're going to raise another $100,000, which will allow us to make another 1,000 units of the new product that we've designed. And we totally blew the targets. This was something that was written in Wired and on many other media outlets, but essentially, we got to the $100,000 in 18 hours, 500 in 4 days, 1.5 million in 30 days from almost 14,000 people from 86 countries. And we've done all of that just by telling a great story, tapping into something that is fundamentally important in the world, and using the right platform to do that. So we're building these, for all ages, and I think, in that respect, I truly encourage each one of you to think, what is the one thing in your life that you envision as really, really important for you? Something that you can wake up in the morning, be hungry about, passionate about, and inspire other people to do it with you, because nothing happens if you do it yourself. And we want to build it to bring all over the world. And this is Calvin with what we've created in one of the workshops we ran in Sierra Leone. But what about those emerging paths? I want to go back to that, because this is where we started the talk. And also, I think this is the important thing of this visit for me here. And I want to say just a few things to summarize. You can't learn to swim by exercising at the beach. This is one of the quotes I've read in a book that is called The Second Bounce of the Ball, written by Ronald Cohen, who started Apex Partners in the UK. Essentially, it's one of the pioneers of the venture capital and private equity industry. And I'm sure everyone here knows how to swim, and if you don't, then you know that it's very, very simple. You just go out there and learn to swim. There is not too much into it. And you can dare a bit. You don't have to be wild. You don't have to take crazy risks in life. I don't think I've taken crazy risks in life. I think I've taken calculated risks, which, I can see where it goes. And if it didn't, I would simply ask the question, which is, what's the worst case? And if there's something, one of the best things Nike has done as a company is just do it. Because what's the worst case? That already exists. Thank you.